friends, welcome to Lean and Clean with Fitness Chef Christine. Tonight, I am honored to have my guest Rhonda back. She did amazing things with her Lose 5 Pounds in 5 Days challenge. So I wanted to have her back because our goal has been getting ready for holidays, and she is running a holiday challenge. So I want to let her tell you about what she's doing. I was a participant in her last challenge, and it was fabulous. You want to do this. Okay, take it away.
Thank you so much for having me back. It's such a blessing to be here.
My pleasure.
So yes, I'm starting. It's called the Holiday Eating Made Healthy Challenge, and it's called Enjoy Without Gaining Weight. Because my whole goal is to help people realize that they don't have to be miserable over the holidays and feel deprived and sad. They can enjoy the holidays eating delicious foods with just a few little tweaks and enjoy spending time wanting to feel good, getting dressed up and going to festivities and going to dinner at other people's homes without panicking that
Right.
they're not going to have anything to eat. This challenge, it's going to be the same core principles that I taught in my Lose 5 Pounds, because that is the heart of what I do, is teaching the science behind why we do what we do.
Right.
And the reason I do that is because for me personally, that's what's made all the difference in the world, is understanding how to properly fuel my body
Yes.
in order to not feel hungry. That's a huge thing, and to not feel
Power.
deprived.
Yeah. I mean,
So,
there's so much power and knowledge. If you know the why behind it, it's much easier to stick with.
yes,
And it's like a running tape in the back of your mind. Okay, I know this is going to affect my insulin. Now I don't want it to affect my insulin, so I'm not going to do it. And
exactly.
years ago, I would say that I was the person that brought food to people's houses just so I'd have something to eat. And
Yeah,
after years of learning and not learning not to panic, you know what to look for. And so there's always
yes.
something that you can do. And when does the challenge start?
It starts November 4th. It will be the first 5 days are the core days, and then I'm going to do some bonus days. So throughout the challenge, I'm going to be sharing additional tips and recipes and ways that you can tweak some of the classic, like the green bean casserole. And instead of a sweet potato casserole, I make a butternut squash casserole. That it's funny actually, because that's like my favorite dish at Thanksgiving. And
I
my
love that.
mom still makes, she always invites, they have hearts of gold, my parents, and they have done amazing, by the way, on this plan. My dad has now lost 130 pounds.
Wow, that's
My
amazing.
mom's lost 77 pounds, and they're 77 years old. So that
It's
just
not about
goes to,
age.
yeah, they are capable. You're never at the point. I think some people start to feel like this is never going to happen for me.
Right.
And I'm either too far gone because I'm too heavy, or I'm too old, or I'm too this or too that. And just realizing that if my parents at 77 years old, when they were morbidly obese, can completely change their lives within a year. They reversed their type 2 diabetes. They brought their A1Cs into normal range. But anyhow, they have hearts of gold. They invite like all the widows from their church and they open their home to everybody. So we
I
always
like
have
that
a
too.
crowd.
I call it the misfit holidays. We just
Yeah,
invite.
exactly. Everybody's there. But the funny thing is that my mom still will make the traditional like yams with the marshmallow baked on top. And then I'll bring my butternut squash casserole, which people don't even know that it's necessarily not sweet potatoes because it's similar in color.
Right,
And
right.
I do a pecan crumble on top with butter. I use brown sugar swerve, which is the erythritol, so
Right.
it's not going to spike your insulin and blood
Yep.
sugar. And honestly, most people go for my dish over the traditional
You're
one.
like,
Yeah, exactly.
you inspired me so much. And I'm just going to interrupt you for a second, but you
Yeah.
inspired me so much. When you did your 5 day challenge, I used to be a pastry chef. So I love to bake. I love to cook. I did a lot of catering in my day. So I went through and I picked maybe 5 recipes that I make a lot. And I took out the sugar. I end up using a lot of allulose just because I find it a little, I sometimes the stevia or monk fruit really bothers my stomach, but
Okay.
allulose seems to be a little easier for me. So
Yeah.
I was able to modify a lot of the recipes that I've had, and nobody has said a thing. Nobody even seemed to know.
Nice.
So it wasn't 100% successful on all of them, but I was able to tweak enough of them that everybody's still happy. So thank you.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, absolutely. That's fantastic. Yeah, I love stevia, allulose, monk fruit, erythritol. There's some studies that have been done, but there's some debate about the studies that who knows? A lot of times you find out that these things
Still better
than
than
sugar.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, it's amazing the stuff that you can make. Pecan pie. I've made a cheesecake with a caramel pecan topping that is to die for. Like
Yeah.
tons of pumpkin recipes, pumpkin cookies, pumpkin muffins, and I don't even use any flour. I
These are the
use,
things that are going to make us successful because
yeah,
who wants to be deprived of everything altogether? Not many people. We want to make something that's sustainable for everybody because if you come from a diet culture, you think you have to give everything up, give it up, and you have to exercise so much willpower. When in truth, if you could learn a different way, you can have that for life. And your parents
absolutely.
and you are an example of that. Now, you haven't mentioned how much you've lost. You mentioned how much your parents have lost, but you've done
Yeah.
an amazing job yourself.
Thank you. Yeah, I've lost 120 pounds. And the amazing thing is that I've kept it off now over 4 years. It's 4.5 years now that I have kept the weight off. For me, that's the big difference because my whole life I was able to lose weight. I've actually lost over 100 pounds two other times. It's embarrassing to admit.
100%.
But as
Everybody
soon as
has that.
as soon as I hit my goal weight, I would start gaining and I would gain it all back. And the problem was I'd gain more. So I would lose 60, I'd gain 80. Then I'd lose 100, I'd gain 120. It was
Yeah.
just this yo. And so this exactly what you just said. I can do this because I don't feel deprived. It's not that deprivation mentality anymore. It's not, and I've given up the all or nothing mentality. That's a huge thing too, because I used to think, oh, if I take one bite off plan, then I might as well just keep going and then I'll start again on Monday. And then Monday would come and something would come up and I'd be like, oh, I'll wait till after that wedding. Oh, then we've got the vacation.
Yeah.
And it was this downward spiral. And I'd be having my last hurrah, which would be eating everything in sight until I would have gained, like I said, all my weight back plus more.
And you're
And
not alone. It happens. It's that diet roller coaster. So many of us ladies have been on that diet roller coaster. Oh, it's going
yeah,
along great. It's going along great. And then you're like, oh, it's Christmas and there's all these parties and
yeah,
not anymore because we're here
yeah,
to help, right?
that's
We're
right.
here to
Exactly.
help people. I'm working on micro habits with people. So it's just about finding a way to rein in all those crazy thoughts and know that this is a lifestyle change that you can do it. And I
Absolutely.
love the tips and tricks. I really want people to join your challenge because I think they're really going to get a lot out of it. And once I always call it the momentum snowball. Once you get that little snowball started and you're making a snowman and you start to roll it and it starts to build and build,
Yeah.
that's how weight loss is.
Yeah.
You finally get that track moving in the right direction. You're like, oh my gosh, it's happening. It's actually working. You're more
Yes.
motivated to stick with it versus standing on the scale like it hasn't moved. It hasn't moved. But what I loved about what you did with the 5 day challenge, for me, I cannot look at the scale all the time because I find that very hard when it doesn't move.
Yeah.
But when the clothes start to feel looser, when my energy's still great and I'm not eating all the crap, that's where magic happens.
Absolutely.
So tell me, where can people find your challenge? I'm going to put the link it below, but if they were just out there in the World Wide Web and looking for it, where would they find it?
Sure. The easiest way is to join my free Beyond Keto group. It's a free Facebook group, and the links are in many posts within that group. You can also just friend me personally, Rhonda Brightwell Kremske on Facebook, and then send me a message and say, hey, I'm interested in your challenge, and I'll just send you the link directly. Or join my Beyond Keto group, and you'll see me posting about it. And I post about it on my personal profile all the time, too.
And I'll just say, I think joining the Beyond Keto group is a great idea because when you're alone on this little island trying to do everything yourself, it doesn't really work so well. But when you're collaborating with other people, like you and I are doing, all of a sudden you don't feel so alone. You have somebody to bounce your ideas off of. You have somebody to say, hey, I'm struggling. Anybody out there struggling too? Having that accountability, having that partnership, collaboration, whatever you want to call it, is magical.
It is that community support. Yeah. And when you were talking about I love the analogy of the snowball and how it builds momentum. I also think of it like this, like there's certain things that I will have on my to-do list forever, and I just don't want to get to them. I don't want to get to them. So then I'm like, you know what? For instance, my daughter's room. I have a 9-year-old. She can be like, it was funny because we just went through 2 major hurricanes here in Florida, and we were joking that the hurricane came inside her room. Because she knows how to make a mess, that girl.
Why?
Um, it's overwhelming, but here's what I found. Just start with one drawer. You know what I mean? If you just, and once you start with that drawer, it can be a small drawer, but you start with that, you get going and you get the momentum, then you get to another drawer, and then you're in another drawer, and then suddenly you're picking up the clothes off the floor, and then you're cleaning out the closet, and then you look and it's
Like,
wow.
it's
And
done, it's done.
it's the same thing, like with these healthy habits, just pick something and start with it. Start drinking extra water, start getting a little bit more movement in, start doing small things that snowball, like you said, and eventually you're there and you're on a roll. You're feeling that momentum, and then you recognize, wow, this is doable. I can do this.
I would say for me, I started with cutting out sugar. For a
Yes,
while, I
huge.
cut out sugar, and then I had just raw honey, and then I trickled my way into it, and then when I cut it completely out, that's when I noticed a big change, because that's when the random hunger started to go away. I started to get
Yes.
more even and more, and then I could really focus on getting all the good protein in, because I wasn't one of those do it all or do nothing.
Yes,
So
me
I
too.
know I was drinking my water, I was checking my macros, I was doing all the things, having enough protein and having my vegetables and it was exhausting. It was
Yeah.
exhausting.
Yes.
And it got to the point after 5 years, I'm like, I don't want to track my macros anymore. So then I
Right.
was like, I'm just gonna have pretty much the same meals, and I don't have to do that because I already know what the macros are. But when I cut out the sugar and made my life easier, and I took all the fear and nervousness away, it changed. It changed everything.
Oh, it's night and day. Sugar, that is probably the biggest
Yeah.
thing in people's lives. And you don't even recognize how much sugar
Absolutely.
is in
You
every
can't.
other product. Even
No.
almond butter, the
Yeah.
first ingredient is
Yeah.
usually almonds. The next going to be organic cane sugar. They try to make it like it's a
They
healthy
stick it in
sugar.
there. You've got your corn syrups, and you've got your and everything. It's just crazy.
It
I was
is.
reading an article about fast food hamburgers, how they put them in there to make them more palatable and make because it's a lower grade meat. And here you're thinking like, okay, if I don't eat the bun and I don't eat all the stuff, that's okay. But in truth, it's hiding in there.
Yeah, it's a crazy what they hide it in.
It is
Absolutely.
crazy. It's almost like they want us to be addicted.
Oh, yeah.
It
9 times more addictive than crack cocaine. It's scary.
It is scary. It is. It really is. But that comes again with the knowledge that you're teaching and that you're sharing with people, because if you don't recognize what the labels are saying, it's hard to stay away from.
Yes.
I'm a one ingredient kind of gal. I stay away from all the processed stuff. But I'll tell you, years ago when I was on the diet roller coaster, I call it, I didn't know. And what you don't know, you can't really you can't really fix. Um,
Yeah, exactly.
I
And the one thing too is as far as we were talking about not having that all or nothing mentality, what I always tell my clients is make the next best choice.
yes.
Don't wait. If you make a mistake, drink some extra water, go for a quick walk, like just clear your mind, get away from the temptation and don't let it cause you to spiral, because that's what has kept me over to be able to keep my weight off now for 4.5 years, is that if I make a mistake, it's not the end of the world. It's not going to completely derail all of my efforts. I
Right.
make the next best choice.
Say to people who plateau. I hear this from women all the time. Going along great and doing all the things, and then it just goes nowhere and it doesn't seem worth it. I hear that
Right.
all the time. I'm like, it's
Yeah.
still worth it. Look at all the good stuff you're doing for your insides. It's still
Exactly.
good.
And
Do
that's the thing is I tell my clients, I say, trust the process, because you never know when your next, we in our group, we tend to call it a whoosh when you finally
it.
get like when the scale finally goes, and you never know when that's going to happen. So you could be right before your whoosh and you could give up. And
Yes.
then you're missing out on all that because your body, you just have to trust that once you find a lifestyle that is sustainable, that's healthy, that you're feeding your body, like you said, not processed foods, real whole foods, getting rid of the sugar, you're going to feel so much better anyway that you are not going to want to go back to those foods. But the big thing is just there's little things you can do to tweak. Like it could be changing up the times that you eat your meals. It could be playing around with your calories. And here's something crazy. I did the same thing when I was losing my weight. I logged my food, so I was tracking my macros, tracking my calories. I actually had to increase my calories when I would hit a plateau because my body was holding on to it wasn't releasing anymore. So once I started feeding myself a little bit more, which seems counterintuitive, my body would release. I increased, I started at around 1,000 calories a day. By the time I hit my goal weight, I was at 1,600. And then in maintenance, when I track, I'm probably closer to 22 or 2,500 calories. I'm eating a good amount of food, but
Because you healed your body. Wouldn't you say you healed your
yeah,
metabolism? When we're
yes,
constantly dieting, constantly restricting ourselves, constantly, your body just can't get with the program. Relax and you're fueling your body for all your activities. Your body's okay. I get it. Thank you. I'm not, I can
yes,
metabolize now. And you're giving it the
yeah,
good stuff. So it recognizes
exactly.
how to metabolize it. And this is,
Yeah,
it's interesting that you say that that you slowly upped your calories. I think that's a kind of a normal thing for people. I think that the people that are successful that have been doing this for a long time and made it a lifestyle can feel comfortable increasing their calories because their body's so burning it up, ready to
right.
fuel.
Yeah, and you're right. And your body recognizes that you're feeding it real food versus
Absolutely.
Doritos and, and all macaroni and cheese and different things with all this processed chemicals
Right.
that it doesn't even know what to do with it. So when you start fueling it properly, it's amazing. Dr. Sears refers to it as wisdom of the body, where your body recognizes what's good for you.
Love
And
that.
then yeah, you start to actually even crave it. Your tastes will change. It's
Oh,
amazing
100%.
how much your taste change. Getting rid of sugar. I'm sure you found that where then you
Oh,
taste a
and you
strawberry.
have it
It's
like,
like you're like, wow, a strawberry, it's so sweet. Where when you're eating all the processed donuts and ice cream and everything else, you eat a strawberry and you're like, oh, I need some powdered sugar on this. It's not sweet. But once you change your tastes, you recognize, wow, God really made some delicious natural candy in these
boy,
fruits and berries.
the only berry I can eat is blueberries. Everything else I get hives. It's such a
Oh
sad
no.
thing. I know.
Oh,
It's really not fair. It's funny. I used to drink Diet Coke, like copious amounts of Diet Coke, like a
Mm,
2 liter in the morning and a 2 liter in the afternoon. It's ridiculous. And I had unsweet tea one day and I accidentally put my cup down and I grabbed my daughter's and she was having a Diet Coke and I took a taste of it and spit it out. I was like,
yeah.
oh, what are you drinking? Blech,
Yeah.
Diet Coke. I'm like, oh my gosh, it tasted that bad. And I drank it for that long. Like,
Isn't it funny? Your body knows.
I didn't even
Yeah.
know it was that bad, honestly. And I drank a ton of it. And I gave it up for her because she had epilepsy and they said it wasn't good for her. So I gave it up and she didn't.
Oh no.
We live and learn.
That's right.
I don't want to keep you too long. I really want again to encourage everybody to do your challenge. So it is, you said 5 days. It
Yep.
starts November 4th,
November
right?
4th, yep, which is a Monday. Yeah, so
Okay.
the Monday through Friday are the key days. And then we're going to get into some holiday type topics for some bonus days. So
I love
we'll
it.
we'll talk about travel, how you can travel easily, because that's a big thing that gets people off
Yeah.
over the holidays. We're going to talk about going to events and being able to participate in all of those festivities without caving to the temptations, because that's a huge thing. So we're going to get a little bit more holiday focus specifically during those bonus days. So there'll be 4 bonus days in addition to the 5 core days.
And your teachable
Yeah.
sessions are what about?
An hour. Yeah. And so it's every night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time
Love
when
it.
the time, because the time changes, I think November 3rd. So yeah,
I hate that time change. I don't know how 1 hour could affect me so much, but it
does. Yes, I know. We just got back from Dallas, so we were on a different time zone.
that's right.
And so we lost an hour coming back. It's tough. It is. And now we're going to lose another hour next week. So
Yeah, that's not good.
yeah.
I look forward to participating in the challenge because I love to feed off other people's energy and you have such great energy and I really appreciate all you do. And I'm going to share this everywhere I can. And I thank you so much for being with us. And my friends, if you have not already subscribed, please subscribe to the podcast. It's free. You get wonderful coaches like Rhonda, and we're here to bless you with information to move you forward in your journey. So if you haven't given us a do that, leave us some comments. In the show notes, I will provide a link to get to Rhonda so that you can join the challenge. And I look forward to seeing you in the challenge.
All right. Well, thank you so much. I'm so grateful to be here, and I'm looking forward to having you all join too.
Excellent. All right, my friend. Thank you so much. I'll see you in the challenge.
All right. Sounds good.
Be blessed.
Bye.